Welcome back to another brand new video. Today I'm going to give you some tips on how to quickly climb the ranks in UFC 4 Online World Championships. This is UFC 4's competitive online mode, and it's the mode I've spent by far the most time playing since the game came out. I'll give you a quick rundown of how the mode works if you're not familiar with it. So the game ranks you based on your skill level from Division 1 the lowest all the way to Division 20 the highest. When you start the mode for the first time, the game's going to prompt you to complete 5 placement matches that will determine your first ranking. After this, winning matches will earn you division points to climb into higher divisions, and losing will cause you to drop down. If you win 3 fights in a row, you'll win a championship, and you'll hold on to that until you lose. Now, this is basically useless. It doesn't really do much. It looks cool that you've got the championship, your opponent can see that you're champion, but other than that, I'm pretty sure it doesn't really do much else. But yeah, so that's the basics of Online World Championships. You're probably already familiar with it if you're watching this video, but I thought I'd quickly run through it just in case. Now you can see here that I'm currently on like a 19 or 20 fight win streak. I've defended my title 16 times and I'm currently in Division 5, which is the highest I've been in. So I have a pretty good record at the moment. Most people tend to float around Divisions 8 to 12, I'd say, and I'm going to share some tips today that will hopefully help you push past that barrier and get into the higher divisions. Also, this is unrelated to the video, but you might hear some background noise in this video. My neighbours are doing very loud construction work, and I've been trying to work around it to record this commentary all day, but it's not working, so we're just going to have to work through it, so I apologise. My first tip is to make sure you're comfortable with at least one fighter in every weight class. Unlike UFC 3, UFC 4 doesn't let you choose what weight class you want to fight in, and I think they've done this to firstly increase the size of the matchmaking pool and just to encourage players to use a wide variety of fighters. And they've been successful, to be fair, because for the last year of UFC 3 I literally only used Dustin Poirier or Khabib in the lightweight division, and this game's forced me to play in divisions that I never would have touched previously, so it's kept the game very interesting. Now, I'd recommend getting used to fighters in other online modes like Blitz or online friendlies, because you don't want to lose points in rank just because you're experimenting with new fighters. That's a bit of a waste. For me personally, whenever the featherweight division comes up, I like to use Max Holloway. When women's bantamweight comes up, I use Amanda Nunes. When men's bantamweight comes up, I use either Henry Cejudo or Dillashaw. These are fighters that I know inside out. I know their movesets, their strengths, their weaknesses, any perks they have, so I know exactly how to approach a fight when using them. There are a couple of weight classes I'm not particularly comfortable with though, like light heavyweight and heavyweight. So at the moment, when I see those classes come up, I just don't play ranked for a couple hours. I'm not going to queue into those weight classes until I feel fully confident with 1 or 2 of the fighters. My second tip is please do not leave matchmaking when you're put up against someone in a much higher division than you. The matchmaking at the moment is a little bit dodgy, so someone in Division 4 can get matched up against a Div 20 player sometimes. This can be frustrating, I know, and I've seen players just quit the game at the menus to get out of the match before it begins, but you shouldn't do this because facing a higher level player is very low risk but very high reward. If you lose the fight, you'll lose barely any division points because the game recognizes that there was a large skill gap. But if by chance you win the fight, you're going to be rewarded with a ton of points, and you can literally jump an entire division or 2 in one go. The odds that you're going to win the fight are slim, granted, but you should give it a shot anyway because you have so much more to gain than you do to lose. Speaking of matchmaking, the only time I would ever encourage you to leave is when you can see that the connection between you and your opponent is going to be awful. When you're picking your fighter, at the bottom of the screen you can see your ping, and if it's really high, honestly I just tend to leave and avoid the fight altogether. Playing through a laggy online fight is one of the most frustrating things ever because there's a slight input delay when you're throwing combinations and denying transitions, so your timing is all over the place, and timing in UFC 4 is key for anything you do. You can literally lose the fight through no fault of your own, so if you can see the ping's really high, then I'd recommend you just leave. Next, do not start playing online world championships if you don't have at least a basic grasp of how the grappling system in the game works. You'd be surprised at how many fights I've won easily just because my opponent has no idea what they're doing on the ground. You're essentially just handing your opponent a free victory, especially once you get into the slightly higher divisions. Check out my basic ground game tutorial if you haven't already to learn how to deny the most common transitions on the ground. My last tip, and probably the most important tip in this video, is do not play when you're frustrated or angry. This is a mistake I made way too often in UFC 3 and my online ranks suffered so much because of it. You make bad decisions when you're raging, and one loss can quickly snowball into like 4 or 5 in a row if you're not careful. Personally, as soon as I lose one fight and start to feel myself getting a bit frustrated, I stop playing ranked for a while. I'll just turn off UFC, I'll play some FIFA, or just turn off my PS4 altogether and come back to it later. You want to play ranked with a level head. That's it for this video. If you found anything helpful, if you learned anything new, then like the video, subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot more content coming soon.
Just a beautiful shot by her there to end the fight. I'm not sure she could have drawn it up any better than it played out here tonight. She lands the seminal blow there midway through the round. I'm not even sure her opponent saw it coming. So big knockout win for her here tonight. So there she is, folks, a woman who now needs no introduction, the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion of the World, getting it done by knockout and with major style points here.